Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whenever you're watching this video. This is Austin, and this is Following Jesus again, where let me stop saying this is Austin. That don't make no sense. I am Austin, and this is Following Jesus, um, where we are reading from Matthew to Revelation. I'm giving my little 2 cents, my commentary, and we are currently on Matthew chapter 13. I think we're at verse like 22 or something like that. If you have not been following, and this is your first time watching one of these videos, I encourage you to start at the beginning and then just catch up so that you're not starting in the middle. Also, so that you're not thinking that if I give my commentary that I'm saying things that I'm not, because sometimes I may say certain things, and if you don't understand the fullness of what I believe, you'll take that little snippet and misunderstand the totality of what I'm saying. So that's another reason why I would say watch from the beginning, because people tend to do that a lot nowadays. But yeah, we're gonna get the last video we were speaking Matthew 13, 1 through. We were speaking on sowing seed, and if you follow me, you understand what sowing seed is. If you didn't follow me, just know I'm not talking. When Jesus was talking about sowing seed, he was not referring to like giving money to a ministry or something like that, or donating money. It's not what he was talking about. That's not what we were talking about. But I encourage you to go back and watch the last video. I do apologize for not posting a video yesterday. I left my Bible at home. I forgot to bring it in the truck with me. And no, I'm tripping. No, yesterday I got caught up in something else. That was Sunday, where one of these days I left my Bible. But I did get some feedback from some people in regards to these videos. One person said, "Hey, Austin, you rant a lot when it comes to things, and it's sometimes hard to follow because you rant." I know that. That is something I refer to it as jumping. So I'm not offended by that feedback. I actually appreciate it, because my goal, again, is not to just sit here to talk. My goal is for people to get an understanding, and I'm trying to do my best to give you that understanding. And sometimes in doing that, I tend to rant. So if that is something that you notice, just know that I am aware of it and I am trying to work on it. I do get off topic sometimes because, again, when I read something, just sometimes it makes me jump. But I am going to try to stay as focused as possible. What else? And this is not a rant either. This is just me going over some things that I've heard from some people. Another person said, "Hey, there's certain things that you may say." I just want my viewers to know, that people that's viewing this to know, I do know what I am doing. I am aware of some of the things that I'm saying, the things that is going to cause, the way people are going to look at me funny if I admit to certain things that I do. I said in my previous video, I don't care, and I really do mean that. And I'm trying to lead by example. I want people to understand that Jesus said, "Fear not them that can destroy the body, but fear him that can cast both body and soul into hell." And I kind of equate that to, like, people will talk about you for admitting certain things and saying, "Look, I struggle with this and struggle with that." I'm over that. The reason why I even admit that is because I feel like in today's society, um, and again, I'm just addressing a comment that was made directly to me. The reason why I do that is because in today's society is people in church, they're afraid to say certain things or to admit certain things. And the problem with that is, when a person is going through the same thing that you're going through, they feel like they're alone. And I know what that feels like, to feel like I'm completely alone. I'm the only one struggling with something. And the reason why I feel that way is because the people who are struggling with it won't admit it. So I just feel alone. And Jesus said that I don't come to he said the whole don't need a physician, but the sick need a physician. And I find that a lot of people feel like they can't go to the physician because they're too sick. Jesus being the physician in this example. They feel like they're too sick to go to the physician. I feel that way because that's how I was. I looked at people around me and I'm like, dang, these people are so holy and these people are so this. And I've lied to myself because they're lying to themselves. themselves a lot of times, or they may not. It's not even that they're always lying to themselves. Sometimes they don't talk about those things because, again, they're afraid how people will look at them. I am going to take one for the team, and that's what I look at that as. If you're dealing with something behind closed doors, I will express what I've been dealing with behind closed doors, just for your sake, just for you to know that you're not alone, just for you to know that you can get help, just for you to know that there's people who look up to me as if, oh my goodness, Austin's so holy. And I want you to know, look, if you're looking up to me, then I want you to know, look, the things I struggle with, I will tell them to you, so that you know that even the people who you think is of the most righteous people in the world, or the most holy people in the world, they go through things. And I want you to know that too, because no man is perfect. And I don't want people to believe that they can save themselves, like the flesh saves you. Oh, you can do things to know. And that's why people don't even believe in Jesus Christ, because they believe they can handle everything themselves. So what you actually accidentally do by sitting here and trying to make it seem like you're perfect is you're actually incidentally teaching people that they don't need Jesus. What did he come here for? And I don't want to do that at all. I don't want people to look to me. Why will I confess to things if I know that people are going to look at me a certain way? If I know it's not going to make me look good, it's only going to make me look bad, because I don't want you to look to me. That's exactly why I do it. I don't want you to look to me. I don't want you to look at me and say, oh, Austin knows the word, so he must be holy. No. I'm saved through Jesus Christ and through faith in Jesus Christ and through his mercy. So that's how I'm saved. And I want people to know that. I want you to really know that you are not too far gone. I don't want you to feel like you can't. Like I said, the devil had it in my mind sometimes. I couldn't even pray, because I'm like, how can I pray if I'm doing this? How can I pray if I'm doing that? How would God hear me if I'm doing whatever it is that I'm doing? How can he hear me? And that's what the devil gets in your mind, and then you end up not praying. Or you go to you don't want to go to church because you say, how can I go to church next to all these people, and these people are so holy, and they're like, I don't deserve to be among them. No, they're not holy. And if they're not, well, they may be holy, but they're not perfect. And if they sit here and they say they have no sin, then it's not you that really needs to do some reflecting. It's them. So I don't want anyone to feel like, oh, I can't go in the house of the Lord, or oh, I can't pray, or oh, I can't. Basically, I'm too sick to go to the physician because everyone else is acting like they have a cold, while you have COVID and everybody else has COVID, but they're making it seem like they have a cold. So you feel like, oh, I can't even be in their presence because I don't want to contaminate them. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. Don't judge anything before the time. Just keep on pressing on, keep on calling on the Lord. He's the one who is our help. He's called a mediator for a reason. He mediates for us. Are we going to continue in sin that grace may abound? God forbid. How shall any man that is dead to sin live any longer therein? That's not just quoting scripture. Those words have meaning. The reason why Paul said that in the first place is because what he was saying seemingly sounded like he was saying, hey, you could do what you want. And I know that what I'm saying is seemingly sounding like you can do what you want. But ultimately, that's not what he was saying, and that's not what I'm saying. We can't continue in sin that grace may abound, because we're supposed to be dead to sin. And you can't fake. If you're a new creature, if I turn into a dog today, I'm going to start barking. I'm not going to be able to help it because I've turned into a dog. So it's not something that, if you become a new creature, it's going to show. There's going to be certain things that you just can't do, or you don't feel comfortable doing because you're a new creature, and you don't have to force that. So enough of that. I was just responding to certain things that if it's not you who made the comment, then I wasn't talking to you. I'm just referring to people who made the comment, who gave me the feedback, and also who may have not made the comment, but who had the same thing in mind. I know what I'm doing. I don't mind looking bad. I don't mind taking one for the team, because at the end of the day, like I said, I believe God is with me, and I believe that his mercy is with me. So I don't want to appear to man anymore. I want to again show I don't mind expressing things that I've dealt with if it means helping somebody else, because that's ultimately what helped me. But all right, I had to do something right quick, so I had to cut the video. But anyways, we are on Matthew chapter 13 and verse Matthew chapter 13 and verse let me hurry up before it gets dark out here. It's already kind of dark out here. Okay. Matthew chapter 13, and we are at verse 24. Austin, I am hanging around some people. We spoke about let me raise this window up so you don't hear all that background noise. But we spoke about in the past, we spoke about the reality of being a Christian. Yep, in a lot of those old videos, we spoke about the reality of being a Christian. And if you've been following me up until Matthew 13, you're starting to realize it is not easy to do so. And another thing that we face as Christians is not everybody, and I think I said this in an old video, not everybody around you is Christian, and not everybody around you is trying to live holy. And if you're not careful, they can have an influence on you, and you can be doing the same thing, end up doing the same things and behaving the same way that they behave. There's a reason why I say this. We go to Matthew chapter 13 and verse 24. It says, another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which soweth good seed in his field. Now, Jesus is going to explain this example a little bit later, but just keep in mind what I said. You want to know, Austin, there's a lot of people around me. I don't know who my real friends are. I don't know who my real enemies are. I don't even really want to deal with people because there's just so much around me. There's so much hate around me. There's so much fakers around me. People who say they love me, but they don't really love me. And there's people who hate me. And I feel like we'll get to all that. Let's read verse 25. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, Nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Again, you hear a comment that I always say, like I did when we read 1 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse, I think it was 1 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 4, when it talks about judging things before the time. When you judge things before the time, you do what Jesus told the angels he did not want to happen in this verse. When you judge things before the time, if you read verse 29, it says, But he said, Nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Let's keep that in mind also. Verse 30, Let both grow together until the harvest, and in the time of the harvest I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like to a grain of mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field, which indeed is the least of all seeds, but when it is grown, it is the greatest among the herbs. Again, if you judge the seed before it is planted, you see it as this small seed, so you don't think anything of it. But it says, when it is grown, it is the greatest among the herbs. You have to give the seed some time to grow for it to manifest itself as the greatest among the herbs. But you can't judge things before the time. I keep saying that for a reason. And becometh a tree, so that the birds of the air come and lodge in the branches thereof. And another parable spake he unto them, The kingdom of heaven is like unto a leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal, till the whole was leavened. And all these things spake Jesus unto the multitude in parables, and without a parable spake he not unto them, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, saying, I will open my mouth in parables, I will utter things which have been kept secret from the foundations of the world. But now he's going to explain himself, and now I will expound on what he says. Then Jesus sent the multitude away, and went into the house, and his disciples came unto him, saying, Declare unto us the parables of the tares of the field. And he answered and said unto them, He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. So, okay, let's keep reading. The field is the world, The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. So I made the comment. Well, let's read again. Verse 39. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. So I made the comment where you're like, Austin, I made the comment where there may be saying where you may have the issue and say, you know what, Austin, I'm struggling. There's people around me. I don't know who my real friends are. I don't know who my real uh enemies are. I'm struggling. There's hate all around the world. I always liken, and I think maybe I did this and said this in one of my old videos, but I always liken Christianity and being a Christian like being a can of soda and you're placed into a cooler where everything, what the, and you're placed into a cooler. I'm sorry, got distracted. You're placed into a cooler where everything is cold, and you have to make sure that you yourself does not get cold in that cooler. That is very hard to do. For something to be amongst cold, just everything that's cold, it's hard for you to be in the presence of a bunch of coldness and not get cold yourself. But let me explain to you what's even harder to do. What's even harder to do is to not only be placed in a cooler and not have to get cold. I don't want to get scientific on people, but it requires more energy for you to get in a cooler and not only not get cold, but melt everything that's cold around you. So that requires more energy. So it's hard enough to not get cold yourself when your whole surrounding is cold. But it's even harder when your calling is to actually melt everything around you that's cold. And that's where we struggle with. We can't even get to that second part because we struggle with the first part. We struggle as Christians to not get cold. When that person comes around you and cusses you out, we struggle to not cuss them back out. And if we struggle to not cuss them back out, then we can't get to the point where we can actually take that cuss out and tell them, I love you. And tell them, here, you sick? Let me give you some food. Tell them, oh, let me give you some medicine. Tell them, hey, you hungry? Let me give you some food. Because now that's melting the coldness around you. It's when a person comes to you and says, I hate you, and you say, I love them, it's already hard enough to resist saying, I hate you too. Get out my face. I can't stand you either. It's already hard enough to get to that point. It's already hard enough to get to that point. But we actually have to get to the point where, again, our light shine. It takes a light. It takes a strong light to melt the people around us. We have to be a light to the world. So not only is it hard to be in coldness and not get cold, but it's also hard to be in, again, coldness and heat everything around you. So we understand that when I speak about this, the thing that's cold is the tares, and the people that's hot is the children of God. So if we read this again, it says the field is the world, this good seed, verse 38, the field is the world, the good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil, the harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of the world. The Son of Man shall, yes, they found me. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, that which do iniquity, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire, where there shall be wailing of and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who have ears to hear, let them hear. This is important, and the reason why this is important is because we automatically look at the tares. A lot of, hey son, don't go behind that car. Did you hear me? I got distracted. I'm sorry, I forgot what I was saying. Thank you, son. We have to, dang it. we have to, I'm sorry, we have to get to a point where, no, we have to understand that we can't keep looking at the tares. We have to be mindful of the tares that's around us. We have to be mindful that there are people around us that's wicked, that don't mean that they hang around us. They're they pretend to be our friends when they're really our enemies. They pretend to be here for us when they really against us. We call them haters. You got people that's haters around you. You got people that's blunt with it, and then you got people that's subtle with it. But I want to show you something that Jesus, this is called following Jesus. I call this following Jesus for a reason, because I want to keep referring back to how Jesus handles stuff. So I know I said, look, I'm not going to rant, but I am going to bounce just a little bit, just for you to, just in case people who don't read their Bible, they don't know certain things. I want to go to Matthew chapter 26. And I want to show you something that's peculiar about Jesus. Matthew 26 and Matthew chapter 26 and let's go to verse 47. This is after Jesus, let's read verse 47. And while he yet spake, lo, Judas, one of the 12, came, and with him a great multitude with swords and staffs from the chief priests and the elders of the people. Now he that betrayeth him gave them a sign, saying, Whomsoever I shall kiss, that same is he. Hold him fast. And forthwith he came to Jesus and said, Hail, Master, and kissed him. And Jesus said unto him, Friend, wherefore art thou come? Then came they and laid hands on Jesus and took him. And behold, one of them which were with Jesus stretched out his hand and drew his sword and struck a servant of the high priest and smote off his ear. Then said Jesus unto him, Put up again thy sword into his place. For all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Thinkest thou that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels? So we got to understand. What are they doing? I'm sorry, there are a lot of distractions. So we have to understand that, well, before we even get into this, we see that, for one, Judas called Jesus Christ his friend. Jesus called Judas his friend. Judas came, kissed Jesus, hugged him, called him master. And not only did he do all that, he basically betrayed him. Jesus Christ still called him friend. Wherefore art thou come? He called him friend. Not only did he call him friend, but when another one, who was a real friend of Jesus Christ, attacked one of the enemies of Jesus Christ, he said, What are you doing? Put your sword up. Don't you think I got power to send forth a legion of angels? If I ain't going to do nothing, you don't do nothing. But let me show you the oddness in all of this. Let's go to John chapter 6. John chapter 6. And let's go to verse 64, just to save time. But there are some of you that believe not. He said, John 6 and 64, but there are some of you that believe not. For Jesus knew from the beginning who they were that believed not. So he knew from the beginning who it was that wasn't going to believe, and who should betray him. And he said, Therefore said I unto you, that no man come unto me, except it were given unto him of my Father. From that time, many of his disciples went back and walked no more with him. So he knew the people who would betray him. He knew the people who didn't believe him. He knew that, not only did he know all that stuff, but people left him. Many disciples left him. Then said Jesus unto the 12, Will ye also go away? Then Simon Peter answered, Lord, to whom shall we go? Thou hast the words of eternal life. And we believe and are sure that thou art Christ, that thou art that Christ, the Son of the living God. Jesus answered and said, I said in one of my earlier videos, we're going to count how many times the Bible refers to Jesus Christ as the Son of God. I ain't feel like doing all that. It's 76. The Bible said it about 76 times in the New Testament. But going back to 69, we believe and are sure that thou art that Christ, the Son of the living God. Jesus answered them, have not I chosen you 12, and one of you, I'm busy right now, son, give me a second, okay? One of you is a devil. So let me get this straight. Let's get this straight. We're supposed to be, this is called following Jesus, and we're supposed to be following Jesus. Jesus knew the people who were around him. He knew exactly who the devil was. He called him friend. He knew exactly that there was people that did not believe him. Yet he still was still among them. He didn't mistreat them. He didn't say nothing to refer to none of them. He said, hey, will y'all also leave? He ain't say nothing to them. So he knew who was going to betray him. He said, one of y'all got a devil. So he knew who among the 11, there was 11 wheat and there was one tare. He knew the tare. But I want you to focus on and pay attention to how he treated the tare. He treated the tare. He's not a hypocrite. We already read in Matthew chapter 6 or 5, where he said, if we do well to them that do well to us, don't the publicans and the sinners do the same thing? Exceed the righteousness of the Pharisees. They are the ones that do well to them that they are the ones that do well to them. They are the ones that do good to them, that only do good to those that do good to them. Why are you saying this, Austin? Jesus still called Judas his friend. Jesus still resisted when his friends attacked his enemies. He still scolded his friends and said, don't do that. If I could go to my father and call a legion of angels, but it's not time yet. It's simply not time yet. It's not time yet. And if you notice, not only did Jesus not do anything to Judas or his the people who came with Judas, Judas later on went and killed himself. Let people condemn themselves. Let them. You don't have to touch them. Let them destroy their own selves. Do what the Bible tells you to do. Do what the Lord tells you to do. It's not easy. It's not easy. But what I want to focus on, though, if we go back to Matthew chapter 13, it says in verse 25, Matthew 13 and verse 25, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? He said, Nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. We cannot judge things before the time, because either we can become tares ourselves, or we can root up the tares we can root up the tares among the wheat. What do you mean, Austin? First of all, there's one thing Jesus has that we have to be mindful of that we do not have, and that we lie and tell ourselves that we do have. Jesus has true discernment. He knew who he was going to betray him. He knew who his enemies were. We don't. And I feel like discernment hides under the guise of false accusation. Discernment hides under the guise we read earlier, if you've been following us, and this is why we're reading this in order, so we can refer back to the teachings that Jesus had. He said that whosoever shall be angry with his brother without a cause. A lot of times we get angry with people without a cause, and we name it discernment, and we say, oh, we discern they're not right. We discern they're not right. You ain't discern nothing. Discernment means to judge wisely. Discernment means when you clearly judge something without probable evidence. When you are accurately judging something without probable evidence. Somebody can't come and slap the taste out of my mouth and then you like, I discerned that they were angry. I got discernment. I knew they were angry. No, duh. He just slapped the mess out of me. Obviously, he's angry. You can't call that discernment. And I feel like what we do a lot of times is we hold on, there is a dog outside and my son is outside. So if I just break out this truck, you know what happened. Because he looking at my son like he about to do something. I dare him. So if we sit here, dang, it's so much distractions. If we sit here and we judge people based on our discernment or what we think and what we feel, we actually become the tares. Austin, what do you mean? You may sit here and say and believe that someone is doing you wrong. Okay, for example, let's say a woman believes her husband is cheating. She may act on that. And if she acts on that, she actually becomes the wrong one. Because if she's wrong, Jesus was not wrong in how he judged Judas, but he still treated her right. And this is why what I want you to understand. If she's wrong, she may treat him like he's cheating. He wake up in the next morning. Hey, baby, made some food? No, I ain't make you no food. And now he's confused. Like, why is she treating me like this? Because you're perceiving that he's a tare, but really he's wheat. And at this time you're wheat too, but you're becoming a tare because now you're angry with your brother without a cause, and you're mistreating someone because you think they're mistreating you. So now you say, I'm like, babe, you ain't make me no dinner or nothing or no breakfast. No, why should I make you breakfast? Okay, all right, that's fine. I'll go ahead and make my own breakfast. Then you go to work, you come back, and I go to work, I come back, my wife is in the front yard. Did you get some food today? And I'm like, what the heck is your problem? And then you don't want to tell me what your problem is. You just discern that I'm doing something wrong. And again, this is an example. This did not actually happen. So you just discern that I'm doing something wrong. So now you're treating me this way. And now you're the one that's wrong. So now you're mistreating me because you think I'm mistreating you. That is why I keep saying we should not judge things before the time. And that is why Jesus says, do good. Do you know how, if you do things like that, you are going to misjudge a lot of people. You're actually going to be the wrong person. You are going to create problems when you think you're solving problems. You're going to create problems because you believe you have discernment. You are going to just be in a mess all the time. When that is why Jesus says two things. He gave us advice. If a person has an oath with somebody, you go to them. You talk to them. If you believe a person has an oath with you, you go to them. You talk to them. Then he comes back and says, whether they are your enemy or your friend, treat everybody right. Don't be like the Pharisees. Don't be like the scribes. Because if you treat everybody right, then you don't do what he said in verse 29. But he said, nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. This is what I'm saying. In my example, you sit here and you assume someone is a tare, so you treat them like a tare. And when you treat them like a tare, you become the tare because they were actually wheat. You were wheat, but you became the tare because the devil, as we read in verse 25, but while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, because the devil got in your heart, the devil got in your mind. And instead of saying, as we read in Matthew chapter 4, Satan, get away from me. I'm not dealing with you. I don't have no problems with this brother. I don't have no problem with this sister. I don't have no problem with this person. And I'm not trying to find a problem with this person. But instead of you doing that, you counseled with him and allowed him to cause you to be a tare. And then you try to sow tare among the wheat by sitting here and going, and if my wife would have went and said, let's say she perceived I was cheating, and she would have went and said to her friend, oh, my husband is cheating. I think my husband, not my husband, I think my husband is cheating because I got discernment. I know he been coming home late. He been doing this. He been doing that. And you have no proof other than what you think. And instead of you saying, I think my husband, you saying you know it. So now you starting to spread tears among wheat. Austin, what in the world are you talking about? This happens in church. This happens in churches. This happens in almost every church I've been to. This happens. People, they perceive something because somebody shook their hand a certain way, because somebody looked at them a certain way, because they smiled a certain way. They feel like somebody has a problem with them. They feel like somebody has an issue with them. And then the devil comes in someone else and enhances those thoughts by coming to you and saying, a little birdie told me that a sister don't care for you. A little birdie told me that. Now, as I said in the past, in one of my old videos, they put a roulette of people in your mind, and mind you, you're wheat. And they put a roulette of wheat and tares of who it could be in your mind, and you react on basic. If you're not doing what Jesus said and treating everybody right, regardless of if they're your friend or your enemy, you are going to become a tare. Because now, whether they're tare or wheat, you're going to let that seed get planted in you, and the person say, oh, this person, now you looking at everybody funny. Now you paranoid because you're not doing what Jesus said. You're not saying, it doesn't matter who hates me. It doesn't matter who my real friends are. It doesn't matter who my enemies are, because God is going to protect me, and I'm going to treat everybody right, regardless as if they're a wheat or a tare. That way I can remain a wheat. I remain a wheat by treating everybody as if they're wheat. But if I sit here and have that roulette in my head, I'm trying to figure out, who do I need to treat like a tare? And if I accidentally grab somebody that's wheat and treat them like a tare, I become a tare. And not only that, I can actually put them in the position to become a tare, because now they're like, why is this person attacking me? I don't like this person. I don't understand why this person is treating me like this. I don't understand why this person is acting like this. And now the devil continues his work in spreading tares among wheat. But a lot of times he uses us to do it. And the reason the way he can use us is because we don't listen to what Jesus said to do. We don't do what Jesus did. Instead of calling your enemy your friend, you say, and again, he knew who his enemy was. You don't. So you can go to your friend and call them your enemy, and go to your enemy and call them your friend, and cause a bunch of chaos, versus just treating all of them the same, so that it doesn't matter who your friend is. It doesn't matter who your enemy is. You're still covered. But so if we follow Jesus, we'll be good. But the devil knows everybody ain't going to follow Jesus. Everybody's not going to do what Jesus said. So he's going to continue to sow tares among the wheat through you. Through you. So this is why it's important to treat everybody right. This is why it's important to treat everybody right. Not only that, again, you can judge things before the time. And you can sit here and say, again, let's play a game. Let's say that Jesus didn't know. Oh my goodness. Obi, turn it off. Let's say Jesus didn't know who would betray him. It wouldn't matter, because he still called them friends. All of them. He didn't mistreat them. And the one who did betray him would still have went and killed themselves, because he said, I got power to call my father. My father knows all things. My father, I know these things. So you need to get to a point where you say, look, I need to treat everybody right. I need to do right, because I don't want stop. And this is why I'm doing these videos, so people can, and why I say certain things, so people can look at themselves. Because when you look at everybody else, you don't even realize the damage you are doing. The damage you are doing when a person comes to you and says to you, you know, this person it feels this way about you, or this person feels that way about you, and you respond to that gossip. You respond to those things. How about saying, can you give me a name so I can make sure I got the right person? Because that's how Satan operates. He gives you this vague stuff for you to go off of, and for stuff to play in your mind. Just a bunch of vague stuff. Austin, you know, somebody in your house is trying to kill you. Now I go in my house and I'm beating the mess out of everybody. Versus, Austin, your son is trying to kill you, the youngest one. Now I know who to watch out for, but I'm not going to change the way I treat them. But if I'm not going to change the way I treat them, it doesn't matter. I don't really have to look out I don't really care about who to look out for, because it's not going to if it's not going to change the way I treat them, then why do I care? And if I change the way I treat them, I become a tare. So why is it that people care so much to know who it is? Who is it that is the tare? Who is it that's the problem? Who is it just make sure you're not the problem, and make sure that when people come to you, you don't spread hate. You don't spread anger. You don't spread it. You don't show emotion. And that's what's hard to do. When that ice comes to you, you try not to be cold with them. You try not to be cold with them. So that is the reality of being a Christian. You have to treat everybody right, lest you accidentally harm the wrong person. You accidentally harm the wrong person. If someone took my two sons, and three other people that mean to do me harm, or that mean some other people that mean to do me harm, or mean ill will against me, and they put like garbage cans over them or something to cover them up, and they shuffled them up and said, you got to shoot one of these. And I had the option to not shoot. I'm not going to shoot, lest I kill one of my sons. Oh, but if you don't shoot, then the other people is going to continue to take advantage of you. I love my sons too much to risk shooting one of these things, and I accidentally harm my sons. I love my sons too much, and I don't know which one of these is my sons and which one isn't. But God knows, and I know at the end of the day, God is going to take care of these people that's mistreating me. But I am going to suffer myself to be mistreated. I'm going to suffer myself to be taken advantage of. I'm going to suffer myself to be defrauded. Why? Because I do not want to accidentally hurt one of my brothers and sisters. Because that is what we will ultimately do. So I'm not going to shoot any of those buckets. I don't want to kill my son, and I don't want to take that risk. So, but we do that all the time in churches. They put people out the church. They sit here and say, oh, this person did such and such, so we're going to put them out the church. Judging things before the time. Then you find out the people you kept in the church is the devils. And the ones you put out, they were bad at the time, but they grew again. Verse 32. Verse 31, another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like a grain of mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field, which indeed is the least of all seeds, but when it is grown, it is the greatest among herbs. Sometimes we look at the least of all seeds, the one that struggling to do certain things, the ones that's not really relevant, nobody even talks about, nobody even deals with, the ones that seem like they're in the world and that they don't know Jesus at all. Those are the ones we look at and be like, look, you know what? We don't have just get them out of our presence. We don't want to deal with those people. And then those be the ones that grow up to be the greatest among the herbs. But because you judge before the time and you say, you know what? I don't even want to deal with this person. I don't want to be around this person. I don't want to think. You again, you misjudge it. That's why I keep saying, stop judging crap before the time. Because you don't understand the damage it could do to you. Stop looking at other people, because in your pursuit of trying to find out who the tare was, you might have already became a tare, and you'll never see it because you're looking at everybody else. I am an example of what I am talking about. There has been times when things have came to me and I was completely wrong. People came to me, and because I didn't want to go, because I wanted to play Inspector Gadget, I wanted to go and play Inspector Gadget. People came to me and say, you know, there's a person around you doing this. And instead of fact checking them and saying, if you're not trying to start drama, then who is it that you're talking about? That's how we need to be. So that I can go directly to that person. Well, I don't want to start drama. Well, you should never said nothing to me. If you're not going to say a name, shut up. So now, it's important for me not to do that to someone else or put somebody else in that position too. If I hear something, I gotta go and I gotta say a name. I don't care about starting drama. Hey babe, such and such said this about you. You can go straight to such and such, and if they say it, you can bring me with you. And if they say otherwise, they a lie. And I don't mind coming with you to let them know you told me this, and I'm telling you to your face, you a lie. That way, I don't harm my wife in her head. I don't cause harm to her by making her condemn herself by trying to condemn this roulette of people in her head. So now, again, we just have to be careful of these things. This is how the devil creates division among us. Even if there's something I may say in this video that pertains to someone, I already covered my bases. This is why I keep saying in my videos, if I'm talking about you, I am talking about you. I don't know who I'm talking about, but I'm talking about somebody, because if I'm not, I'm wasting my time talking. I'm not deliberately aiming and trying to attack a certain tare, or no, I am just throwing. Look, there are certain type of killers that will not killers, but there's certain type of I have pets. I have 2 dogs, and if I have a rat infestation in my house or something, and I put a poison down, I want to buy a poison that's only going to kill rats. I don't want to affect my dogs. So I don't mind throwing that poison around my house if it's only going to kill the rats, because my goal is to kill the rats. The stuff that's coming out of my mouth when I do these videos is only hurting the people who it's meant to hurt. If you're hurt by these videos, maybe you are a rat, and maybe I am giving you rat poison, and I am directly targeting you. I don't know if there's a rat infestation. There's not a certain rat I'm trying to target. I'm just trying to target all the rats because I don't want no rats in my house. When you grow among wheat and when you grow among tares, you're going to have to put things out to destroy the tares. If you find yourself being destroyed when the preacher is talking, or when you're reading, or when you find yourself being convicted, maybe it's that means you need to change something. Maybe that means you need to change something. You need to work on changing something so that you can, again, be that seed that, while you're least of all, you're not great right now, and you're among tares right now, but you can grow into something beautiful. You can grow into something great. because you allow yourself, again, we read about, he said it in the earlier scriptures about sowing the seed, that you allowed that seed to grow in you and become something great, versus attacking people, versus trying to find out who your enemies are, versus trying to find out who's against you and who's for you. What does it matter? What does it matter? If you truly have love for everybody and you truly care about everybody and you're supposed to love everybody, what does it matter who your enemies are? What does it matter who your friends are? You have to stay the same. I took a long time, my goodness. Verse 44. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hid in the field, the which when a man hath found, he hideth, and for joy thereof goeth and selleth all he hath and buyeth that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchant man seeking goodly pearls, who when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that was cast into the sea and gathered of every kind, which when it was full, they drew to shore and sat down and gathered the good into vessels, but cast the bad away. So shall it be at the end of the world. The angels shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just. Let the angels do it at the end of the world. Let God do the separation, because I keep saying in the videos, we don't do it right. There may be a person that I really believe is my best friend, that I really may believe that is the best friend in the world, and coming to find out, they hated my guts. When fullness of time come, and because I was a respected person, and I treated them so well, the person that hated my guts, I gave them gifts. I supported their whatever that they were doing. I showed them support because I believed they were my friend. Now I am condemned because I'm a respected person, and they're condemned because they were never my friend. And then I'm condemned again because the person who I saw as my enemy, the person that I thought hated me so much, they turned out to be my greatest ally and my greatest friend. And because I perceived them to be my enemy, I treated them like crap. And I treated them wrong. I'm condemned again because I mistreated someone because I believe they were my enemy. The way to solve that is to treat everybody unilaterally. I think if I use that word in context. Treat everybody the same. Do what Jesus Christ did and do what he said. Even when people come and he says, rejoice not when your enemy is fallen. So even when people come to you and they turn against you, they want to group with you against this person. Like Peter did when he cut that man's ear off. We about to fight. Jesus said, no, we not. So if someone come to me, hey, Austin, this person said that about you and that person, and I'm like, hey man, don't say that about Austin. Austin is this. Austin is the. Hold on. Put your sword down. What are you doing? Put your sword down. Put your sword down. What you fighting him for? I am not like Jesus in that I know, but I know I have people around me that's enemies. I don't know who, but at the end of the day, put your sword down. You don't want to go? We should go and we should do that. Put your sword down. God can see it. And at the end of the day, when the fullness of time has come, they're going to go hang themselves on a tree. So let's just let it alone. Let God handle stuff. Let God handle stuff. That way you can have peace in your mind. That way you don't mistreat anybody. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. And the reason why I'm able to say this is because it's happened to me. There's people who have thought, oh, Austin, because my face is a certain way, or because I'm antisocial. Like I said, I don't like talk. When I get in big groups, I hate being in big groups. I hate it. But people will look at me in big groups, and there was a guy who just recently sat with me and talked with me for a couple hours, and he said, bro, he didn't say bro, but he was like, I always thought you was funny, not gay, but he was like, I always thought you was funny, like you thought you was better than everybody. I said, look, let me tell you something. I get that so much. I don't care. I don't mind. I get that so much because of how I know people misjudge me. And if I know people misjudge me, why the heck would I go and do it to somebody else? If I know people may think I'm a tare because of the way I look and they got discernment, discernment has failed. I know people's discernment failed because they will say something about me and say they got discernment. I'm like, you're lying because it's not true. I know what's true about me. You don't got no discernment. You got assumptions that you call discernment that you use as an excuse to falsely accuse people because the devil planted that in your heart. Don't be that guy. Don't be that girl. I'm running out of time. I did not expect to be, as usual. So shall it be, verse 49, so shall it be at the end of the world, and the angels shall come forth and sever the wicked among the just, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing of gnashing of teeth, and gnashing of teeth. Jesus saith unto them, have ye understood all these things? They said unto him, yea, Lord. Then saith he unto them, therefore every scribe which is instructed unto the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is an householder, which bringeth forth out his treasure things new and old. And it came to pass that when he had finished these parables, he departed thence. And when he come into his own country, he taught them in their synagogues, insomuch that they were astonished and said, whence hath this man this wisdom and these mighty works? Is this not the carpenter's son? Is this not mother? Is his mother not Mary, and his brethren James and Joses and Simon and Judas and his sisters? Are they not all with us? Whence then hath this man all these things? And they were offended in him. But Jesus said unto them, a prophet is not without honor save in his own country and in his own house. And he did not many mighty works there because of their unbelief. And that's where I feel like sometimes we get a lot of time. Like I said, I'm the type of person, just me, again, following Jesus. I don't have mighty works to do. I'm not Jesus. But because Jesus did this, he did not many mighty works where there was unbelief. I don't like to pray around unbelievers. I don't like to just do anything spiritual around unbelievers because and this is just me, I don't believe he's going to do any works because he's going to say, I'm not doing anything among these unbelievers. He's going to say, miss me with that. So I want to be among believers because a lot of people, Jesus didn't do a lot of works because of people's unbelief. And we have to get to a point where we believe. But that is my input. I ran out of time, but I think I did a pretty good job. If I didn't, let me know. If I didn't in giving you understanding, I'm hoping I open somebody's understanding. This is what I get out of reading this. Again, like I said, I've read this stuff before. This is how I live my life based on what I've read. So this is not something new to me, but I'm hoping that, again, I can shine that light on other people to know, look, wheat and tares are going to grow together. And your mind is going to race and want to accuse people and hurt people and because you feel hurt. And sometimes you feel hurt. Sometimes things happen and you trying to figure out. Sometimes somebody don't text you back. Sometimes you call somebody, they don't answer the phone, and the devil get in your the devil get in your mind. They don't like you. They're not really your friends. Or they don't really deal with you. That's the devil putting that roulette in your head. So you can sit here and say, you know what? I'm not answering their calls. I'm not answering their phone. I'm not talking to them. They don't talk to me. I don't talk to them. And now the only reason they ain't talk to you because they was at work and they left the phone at the house. Now they call you back and you got attitude. Now you are actually what you was accusing them to be. Because now you're responding in like manner with a person that wasn't even fighting with you. Do not make yourself a tare. When you're among tares, the devil has a way of making you a tare also. He spreads it. Don't let him use you. We talk about let God use you. I talk about don't let the devil use you. That's what this is about. Does this sound personal? This is not personal. Austin, this sounds personal because the way you're expressing, this is not, it is personal in a way because, again, I've dealt with this on the receiving end of it, where I felt a certain way and on the opposing end of it, I felt a certain way. I treated somebody wrong and I was wrong about it. People felt a certain way about me. They treated me a certain way and they were wrong. Like I said, the man that I was talking to, he said, man, I'm glad I spent time with you. I thought you was funny. But it don't seem like you like that at all. I said, no, I'm not like that. And he said, I'm happy I didn't actually misjudge you and go about talking about it because I really thought you was that. I said, no, I'm not. But there was a lot of distraction in this video. Sorry, it went over a little bit, so I might have to speed it up. That was Matthew chapter 13. I hope I helped somebody. We're going to go into Matthew chapter 14 next. Everybody enjoy your day.